Before I dive in, actually what we're going to talk about is a question that came up in a clubhouse that I was listening to. And the question was about how to prioritize your writing, because everybody's got these busy lives, right? So we're going to talk about that because I've got lots of tips for this. But before we dive in, let me introduce myself. I am Kristen Iris Johnson. I'm a film producer, a writer, and a pleasure activist. And what I do, aside from producing and writing and giving tips and advice to other writers and producers, is I also help Black creatives and writers to use pleasure as a way of amplifying their creativity and their impact as well. And today we're going to be talking about some writing stuff. So thanks, Lynette. Lynette said I look pretty. Thank you. Want to come on live. Don't want to look crazy like I did yesterday when, we were over here working on this script. So Lynette and I were working on a script yesterday, and it was just like all day. We were like deep in it. It's a very writerly week for me this week because today I'm going to be diving into a whole different script and getting that done because I have a Friday deadline. Speaking of deadlines, how do you get your stuff done when life is happening? Life is happening, life is getting in the way, or I shouldn't say getting in the way. So yes, prioritizing your writing. This is a question that actually comes up a lot. A lot of writers have this question, like, I feel like I don't have time, or I start doing it, or I plan to do it, and then this other stuff gets in the way. So how do you actually make it happen, right? So the first thing is you have to understand that you prioritize what you really want to prioritize. You prioritize what's most important, and that is not shade. That is not saying that your writing isn't important or it doesn't matter. It is just actually the truth. If there is something else that's going on in your life that is taking priority, there's a reason, and that is you actually making a choice. So you have to own the choice. The idea that like these things keep happening or that like you're kind of at the whims of the universe is false. When you own that you're making a choice, you own that you have the power to continue making that choice as needed or to change it when you can. For example, when we're on set, I'm not writing. I don't have time to write anything. We are producing. I'm trying to make sure that things are happening, that the locations are good, that like everything is going the way it's supposed to. I don't have time when it's like a 12 to 14 hour day to then go home and write or wake up early and write. I don't even have time to work out, okay? So when I'm on set, I'm prioritizing being on set. That's just how it is. And I'm okay with that. So when I'm not on set or we're not in production or in intensive pre-production, that's an opportunity for me to be able to prioritize some writing. And again, this differs for your lifestyle. How much and how often you can prioritize it, that's going to change. And understand that as your life changes, that you will have to adjust when and how often and how much you are writing. So especially if you were starting off, like you're trying to get into your writing habit, maybe you fell off of it, you want to get back into it. The first thing that I would suggest is to start small. Start with like 20 to 30 minutes. Doesn't even have to be every day. Just a 20 to 30 minute writing session. It might be 3 days in a week. It might be one day. It might be like Saturday, I got this 30 minutes, right? But you're doing something. And that small commitment, what that does starting small is it builds your confidence and it lets you know like, okay, I'm doing it. So like you're starting to get a groove. Start with 20 to 30 minutes, maybe a couple of times a week, but keep it small because if you're like, I have to sit down for a 3-hour session, it's going to be intimidating. And 3 hours is a long time when you have been writing, right? That's a long time. So start small. The second thing is, write in a time that is most practical for you. That is not the same thing, hey Yvette, that is not the same thing as writing at the time that is your best writing time. For example, my best time to write, my best time when like the creativity is flowing, the words are flowing, is actually after 3 p.m. in the afternoon in through like the evening into the night. That is not a good time practically for my life to be writing because there's producing stuff, there's meetings, there's all kinds of things that are going on. There's things that I'm trying to catch up on from earlier in the day or from the day before. That's not a practical time. Plus in the evening is a lot of times when people are with their families. So for me, writing in the evenings, not a good time. Practically speaking, writing in the mornings is when I can actually more feasibly get it done. So I might do 20, 30 minutes in the morning. When I built a habit, again, starting small, that was the first thing, start small and pick the most practical time, I was actually able to keep up with it. I wasn't doing a ton of time. I think I was doing like an hour, hour and a half or something like that. But I was doing it consistently. I was aiming to do it every week, but I think I was doing it about 4 or 5 days a week, right? So I was getting that done. And then eventually I was like, okay, let me try and start to shift to, now that I had built a bit of a habit, it was like, let me start trying to shift to the time that is my most creative time so that I can write more efficiently. Right? So I started to make that switch. Did it work? Not so much, because evenings are still not a great time. So I had to like switch it back. But right now I'm just doing a lot of writing because we have a lot of projects that we're developing and a lot of deadlines. So again, first tip is start small amounts of time, small increments of writing. Second thing is to write at the time that is most practical in your day. So if you have like kids or you have a lot of things to do, it might be most practical. Hey, Teranique, it might be most practical for you to write early in the morning. Like I said, it was working for me. Or for a lot of people, it's writing late at night after everyone's gone to bed. But again, you're doing a small increment. So don't be worried about like, oh, I'm staying up till 3 in the morning. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that, right? All right. So then the third thing is to help you start building it, to start prioritizing your writing, is to eliminate your distractions. It's 20 minutes. 20 to 30 minutes. Remember, you're starting small. You can put your phone down. Okay, put your phone in. This is actually something I used to do. I would put my phone on airplane mode and then I would stick it in another room. Because when I'm trying to figure something out in a story, my go-to is to pick up my phone and then I'm on Facebook before I even realize it. And now I'm not writing, right? So when my phone is in another room, it eliminates that, right? It takes that distraction away, because I know that's a distraction for me. If you know that social media or email or things like that are a distraction, it might be putting your laptop on airplane mode, which is also something I used to do. I would get up in the morning, I would write for 20 minutes every day. I would put my laptop on airplane mode, my phone would be on airplane mode so that I can't even worry about who's calling, who's texting. I mean, who's texting me at 6:30 in the morning? It happens, but like, I'm usually not trying to answer those anyway. So here's the thing, a lot of people get really distracted, especially as you get into like those bumps or you're trying to figure something out on the page, is you wanna turn your brain to something else. Eliminate the distractions so that you can stay focused on the task. Because again, you're only going, if you're starting small, you're only starting with like 20 to 30 minutes. Now I'm gonna add this little bonus one for you for people who have a regular writing habit, is to write in increments. Like I said, you're starting small, but like, if you have a regular writing habit, start in increments. Be like 20 minutes, take a 5-minute break, or 25 minutes. Do like 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. Write for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. Write for 25 minutes, take a 30-minute break. This is actually a Pomodoro. I can get deeper into that, but I'm not. The reason I want to give you this one is because it gives you little breaks, which allows your brain like time to kind of reset. When you're going hours and hours and hours, you get really depleted mentally. And it makes it, you're actually less effective with what you're writing on the page. So when you break up the time, if you're like, okay, I'm going to sit down for these 3 hours, that's like your writing habit. You're like, I got these 3 hours. Break it up into increments so that you're giving your brain a break and a chance to kind of reset so that you can actually get more done with the time that you have. Lynette, you and I probably should have done that yesterday. We probably should have taken little 5-minute breaks, but we didn't because we were like deep in it and trying to hit this deadline. So, you know, this is me giving you guys tips that like I also need to remember to implement. So these are, like I said, those are my tips for how to prioritize your writing. One is remember that you prioritize what's important to you. All right, so own that you are making a decision to prioritize certain things ahead of your writing. I guess that's kind of like, this is kind of like 4 tips, but that one is just like, you need to recognize it's not so much a thing to do, but it's like really own that you are making a decision and that you can make a different decision when it is available to you. So again, start small, 20 to 30 minute increments, or 20 to 30 minute sessions, maybe a couple times a week. Oh, good, Teranique, write it down. Start off with writing in the time that is most practical in your day, the time that you can get your writing done where you will have less interruptions and things like that. And then 3, Guys, really, really important, eliminate your distractions. And as you write, as you start implementing these practices, you will start to see, oh man, I do this thing, like I get distracted by this thing. Your distractions might be your kids, right? So how do you eliminate that distraction? You can't get rid of your kids, but what you can do is say, hey, mommy or daddy or whatever, whoever you are, is I am going to be writing for the next 30 minutes. I have this sock on the door that means don't interrupt me. I will be out in 30 minutes, and then you can get whatever it is that you need from me. So that's about setting boundaries with your kids or with the people in your life that's like, yo, leave me alone for the next 30 minutes, is set that boundary. That's how you eliminate that distraction. So figure out what the distractions are and then find ways to minimize or eliminate them. So Lynette says, are you sure we can't get rid of them, the kids? I don't know. I'm not judging. I don't have kids, so I'm not judging what you might do. So, all right. So thank you guys for joining me for this live. Hopefully this was helpful for you. And if you're watching on the replay, thanks for watching the replay. Put in the comments. Let me know like what of this, what you're getting from this, and what it is that you're gonna try. I actually have a course for writers, which is all about how to create a thriving writing practice so that you can get your writing done and get it done more efficiently in less time. And you can go and find that on my website, kristeniris.com. You can click the tab for writers. Your Thriving Writing Practice is right where that course is. Go ahead, check it out. And it will talk you through all about how to create a thriving writing practice. At the time that I made it, it was geared a little bit more for people who write books, but definitely good for script writers. All the same things will still apply. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next live, and hopefully I'll be doing another Black Writer Wednesday next week.